Hey guys, 2019 has been a pretty interesting year in terms of new cameras and gear that has been released. So much has changed since last year that I decided to make a top 5 list of cameras that I think are the best for someone that's looking to start getting into cinematography and filmmaking. So without any further delay, here are my top 5 cameras for beginning filmmaking in 2019. Number 1, we have the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. This really comes as no surprise if we're being honest. The camera is just outright amazing, you have many high quality recording options and very robust codecs. The camera also features a very large 5-inch touchscreen on the back, and even though it doesn't articulate, it's still very bright and a joy to use. Now the camera does have a micro four thirds sensor that might be on the small side for a lot of people. However, for someone that's starting out and with the use of speed boosters, you can get images that can match Super 35 easily. The camera is, however, a little specialized, and what I mean by that is that if you're a person that is used to mirrorless and DSLR cameras, then the workflow for this camera will be a little more intimidating and something you'll definitely have to learn and get used to. Second, we have the Panasonic GH4S, and again, this is one that really shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. We have a micro four thirds sensor with dual native ISO and some really outstanding low light performance for the type of sensor. This camera also offers an extensive array of recording formats, including 4K video at 60 frames per second and higher frame rates at 1080p resolution. The GH5S will also record 10-bit color internally at some very impressive bit rates, making it very ideal for extensive color grading and post-production work. This is a great choice because it's not going to be quite as intimidating as the BMPCC 4K to get into, but it's still going to offer many of the same features. It's also a camera that is more approachable in terms of usability straight out of the box, as it does not require any rigging, battery solutions and storage solutions to get up and running. Third on my list, we have the Fuji XT3, and while this might be a bit of a surprise for many, Fuji has really stretched their muscle in terms of video features with this one. This camera has an APS-C size sensor and will shoot 4K UHD video at up to 60 frames per second. Now the 4K video is recorded with a slight crop of 1.1x, but that isn't too bad. What's nice is that Fuji has even included the ability to record 420 10-bit video internally, Fuji F-Log, and even some hybrid log gamma options at up to 400 megabits per second. The camera also has high frame rate recording at 1080p at up to 120 frames per second. The XT3 also doubles as a great stills camera with that 26.1 megapixel sensor and dual SDXC card slots if that's beneficial for you. Overall, as a filmmaking tool, the XT3 makes a very compelling argument. It is great and there's not much to not like. And as an added bonus, Fuji includes many of the classic Fuji stock film simulations built in, so you can record and achieve amazing color reproduction straight out of the camera. Fourth on my list, we have the Sony A7 III, which is the entry level into Sony's full frame mirrorless line. Now while it is quite pricey, it's still a pretty good option for the amateur filmmaker. Firstly, you have that great full frame sensor that is great in low light. And the camera is the perfect hybrid option for photos and video. Now unfortunately, Sony is still yet to update its internal video recording bitrate options in 2019. You will still be capped at the outdated 100 megabits, which really doesn't cut it anymore for modern filmmakers, and this will be done in Sony's XAVC format, which is also pretty much just in 2019. Where this camera becomes a great contender for filmmaking is the ability to record 422 4K 30p with an external recorder, and while this is only 8-bit, it's still 422 sampling, which isn't too bad. With that large sensor, you'll also be getting very good low light performance, and with the addition of an external recorder, you can get much higher bitrate options than what's offered internally. Sony has greatly improved their color science in their newer cameras, which is an added bonus. You'll also be getting industry-leading video autofocus and 5-axis image stabilization, if that is beneficial to you. Finally, we have the Sony A6500, which is a little brother to the A7 III with a smaller APS-C size sensor. Unfortunately, like the A7 III, you'll still be limited to the lackluster 100 megabit bitrate cap in 4K, and you'll also only be able to record in XAVC internally. However, with the addition of an external recorder, you will be able to take full advantage of all the feature set that this camera has to offer. The camera will do 4K 30p with 422 sampling in 8-bit to an external recorder, which will also allow you to shoot at a much higher bitrate than what's offered internally. The camera also has 5-axis in-body stabilization, making it great for handheld use. Like the A7 III, the A6500 also has class-leading video autofocus if that's needed. As mentioned before, in many ways this is just a mini A7 III with a smaller sensor at a lower price. A great deal this one is, to be honest. But unsurprisingly, the Sonys remain at the end of this list as they are not the most favorable for future-proofing with those somewhat limited recording options even with external recording. So there you have it, folks. Those are my top 5 cameras for starting filmmaking in 2019. And while most of the options are pretty pricey, it's probably a good idea to invest in a camera that will be relatively future-proof like the first 3 options so that you do not end up feeling limited by your gear. Thanks for watching, and I hope that this video has been useful to you. Please drop a like or a comment if you enjoyed the video, and if you didn't enjoy it, make sure to hit that dislike button twice. If you're new to the channel, then make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos. Catch you folks in the next one.